Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. Today, I've decided that we are going to have a new category here on Diego Knows. The first category here, I'm calling it Chick-Flick Praise with a question mark. Now, what I mean by that is this is a new section that I'm going to do. I'm not going to do too many of these, but I want to get this one out of the way because I've never done one like this before. All right. But if you remember, the last video that I reviewed was Breakfast at Tiffany's, and I ended it telling you that for a change, just to mix things up a bit, I'm still going to review the fucking bullshit chick flicks that are out there. I'm still going to destroy your favorite chick flicks. But this is one that you probably never saw. Okay, and because you never saw it, I saw it for you. Okay, and I'm going to review it. Though it won't be that many videos, but I want to just to give you an idea about this movie. All right, this is a movie, a chick flick that I saw a long time ago. I actually saw it when it first came out. Now, just to give you a little quick backstory here. What I do here is I review chick flicks. Okay, and I give you a straight man's point of view. That's the point of view you never got. I'm basically going to tell you the truth because I got nothing to gain by lying to you. Okay, so if you like these chick flicks, I'm going to tell you what's realistic from a guy's point of view, a straight guy's point of view. All right, so I'm going to tell you the shit that your dad, your boyfriend, your husband didn't tell you. I'm going to fucking tell you. Okay, well, this is a movie here. It's called Till There Was You. This movie came out in 1997. I actually saw this movie when it first came out. Now, why did I do that? Okay, well, I got to set a little background for you here. Okay, the context is this. Okay, I was in the Marines in 1997. I was brand new in the Marine Corps. All right, and I was stationed at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. For those of you double dogs out there, you know where that is. And I lived right by the base theater. Okay, we got to watch movies for free at the base theaters on the weekends. Okay, so it wasn't a new release. Like, it would be at the theaters, then it'd go to the dollar theater, or it'd come to the base theater. Okay, so sometimes, I didn't have a car. I was a private, I didn't have any money. I didn't have a car, so I was stuck on base on the weekends. When I wasn't deployed, and I was stuck on base. We call it garrison. Okay, so I'm stuck in Big Garrison at Camp Lejeune. I got nothing to do on the fucking weekends. I don't have a fucking car, and I don't really drink. So all my friends went out bar hopping. They went out to go get a hotel and go pick up girls and shit. Meanwhile, I'm taking college classes in my fucking dorm room. Okay, and I decided on the weekends when I was in Garrison, I would walk to the base theater. It wasn't that far away. It was walking distance away, and I would watch movies for free. And that's how I got to see a lot of movies. Well, obviously, I didn't get a choice of what movies were playing, so I would just go there and watch whatever the fuck they're playing. Okay. I watched a lot of movies that way. Everybody at the theater knew me. Oh, it's me again. I'm here to get my popcorn and watch whatever the fuck movie I was playing that weekend. Okay, I watched more than one. Sometimes I watched a double feature. Sometimes I'd spend all Saturday night in that fucking theater. Okay, because I had nothing else to do. I was a young kid, and I didn't have a car. And I was a private, so I had no fucking money either. So I didn't have the money to go out bar hopping, all right? So that's what I would do, okay? And I watched a lot of movies that way. If you'll notice, a lot of my chick flick reviews are from the 90s. Well, there's a reason for that, because I watched that shit on the base theater. Okay, this is one of those movies that I watched on the base theater. Okay, 1997, I went to go see it. I did not recognize anybody on there except for Karen Allen. I didn't recognize her. For those of you who don't remember her, that was fucking Marion from fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay, she played Marion. All right, that was Indiana Jones's love interest. Okay, so I remember recognizing her. I didn't recognize anybody. I recognized Sarah Jessica Parker. She was in the movie too, but I recognized her. This is before Sex and the City. I recognized her from Footloose because she was a minor character in Footloose. Okay, I know she done some other shit. She done some other chick flicks and shit. She does a lot of rom-coms, but I recognized her, and that's it. I really didn't recognize anybody else. I didn't even recognize Dylan McDermott. Okay, even though I'd seen him in that piece of shit movie Hardware a good fucking 7 years earlier. Okay, that's a different movie. All right. So anyway, so I'm at the base theater, and I'm a guy, a straight guy, fucking by myself in a fucking theater on a Marine Corps base, nothing but men in there, and we're watching fucking rom-coms. Okay, and that's what I did. So I watched this piece of shit. Now, the reason I call it a chick flick praise is I did not think it was a piece of shit. I actually liked this movie. I loved this movie. I thought this movie was very good. Now, maybe it was because I only liked it because I was watching a movie in a theater for a change, which is something I didn't do very often. We weren't in garrison that often. A lot of times we were deployed. We were out there in the fucking Middle East or wherever the fuck we were. We weren't always home in North Carolina with nothing to do on the weekends, okay? If we weren't out in the field, we were out on a ship somewhere out in the world, okay? So for me to sit in North Carolina with nothing to do on the weekends, well, it wasn't that often. So I would go to the base theater. Like I said, I had no money. So I went over there, and I watched a lot of movies. This is one of the movies that I watched, and I loved this movie. I thought it was great. Now, did I think it was great? Did I love this movie because it was a really good movie? Or did I love it because I was just a lonely, horny young man by myself in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina? Oh, well, I'll give you one guess which one it was, all right? But I did like the movie. Later on, once I got out, like in the 2000s and shit, I bought that movie on DVD. And I would watch it and I liked it, but usually I was drunk when I watched it. Or I'd show it to girlfriends, girls that I liked. We'd watch it together because we were in love and all that kind of shit, I really liked the movie. That was the point. Is I thought it was really good. It's very cute, very touching. I like the characters. I like the whole story. You've got the woman's point of view. You got the guy's point of view. You got all the serendipity going on, how they almost met each other. I got so much in common. You're rooting for them to meet each other, and they meet each other at the end. Okay, it's kind of a little like Sleepless in Seattle. That whole movie is all about longing, and the two couples don't even meet each other until the end of the movie. Well, this was kind of like that. All right, but I liked it a lot. I really did. I thought it was charming. It was very cute, and all that kind of bullshit. All right. So I liked it, and so I said, you know what? I'm gonna review a movie, a chick flick that I actually liked, and this is one that I liked. I love this movie. I thought it was great. Now, granted, it's been about 7 or 8 years since I've seen it, maybe 9 years since I've seen this movie. And it is from 1997. It's dated. It's dated. All right. So I decided I would. I'm gonna review a movie for the ladies that watch this channel. I'm actually gonna review a chick flick that was good. For a change, I'm gonna review a good chick flick. One that I approve, I get my stamp of approval on it. And this is the first one I'm going to do. Chick-Flick Praise, all right? Well, I watched it so that I could give you this review. And what do I think about it now? Now that I'm older, I'm wiser, I know a little bit more. I'm not some fucking horny young man sitting in a fucking theater. What do I think of it now? It's a piece of shit. It's a piece of shit. It is. Only a young, horny, undersexed man would fall in love with this movie, okay? It's terrible, okay? And, I wasn't into reviews back then. I didn't pay attention to the box office, how much money the movie made or none of that shit. I did not. Not back then. Not when this movie came out. I had more important things to do. But now, I do that now. I keep track of what movies are making money, what actors are getting better careers, all that kind of shit. And, yeah, this movie, it flopped. It flopped big time, okay? It was not well received at all. I couldn't understand it, why nobody liked this movie, because I liked it so much. Well, now that I've seen it again, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But that does not change the fact that this movie still means a lot to me. It's still a charming movie. I still like this movie. Okay, we all have those movies that are shit, but we like them anyway. I'm guilty of that, and this is an example, okay? We've all got our break into Electric Boogaloo, okay? Yes, it's a piece of shit, but God damn it, I love that movie. I love it, all right? I love that movie, okay? And this is definitely in that category, okay? So yes, it's a great rom-com. I love this rom-com, but if you judge it on its merits, if you judge it on was it well directed, was it well acted, was it a good screenplay, was it plausible? Was it believable? Did it suspend my disbelief? Did I really invest myself in these characters? Okay. Was there a shock ending, a surprise at the end? Was there some interesting dialogue in there? That it's catchphrases that stick with you? No. This movie failed on all that shit. Okay. It's absolutely terrible. Some of the worst acting I've ever seen. Oh my God. Jean Triplehorn is fucking terrible. Who the fuck gave her a career? Well, we'll get to that. But yeah, no, it's not good. It's not a good movie, okay? But it's charming. And there was a potential for a really good movie in there. There really was. There was a potential, okay, to have a romance and have both sides of the story told out at the same time. You got the man's side and the woman's side together, paralleling each other throughout the entire story. That's something you don't see all the time. Let's face it, rom-coms are made for straight women and gay guys, okay? And so if it's a rom-com, a heterosexual rom-com, okay, which is the majority of them, let's face it, there's more straight women out there than there is gay guys, okay? Then usually the romance is told from the woman's point of view. You never get it from the guys, but he just shows up, he's got to look good and have a fucking heart on, and that's it. Okay, it's the woman. It's all the drama's all about the woman and what she's going through and all her emotions and her fucking, roller coaster of feelings that she's going through. Okay, it's never about the fucking guy. No one gives a shit about the fucking guy. It's like in the wedding photos. Who fucking always gets photographed? It's always the fucking woman. It's never the fucking. No one gives a shit about the fucking guy. That's usually how it is. This movie was not that way. And that's probably why it stuck out compared to other rom-coms I've seen, is we actually see a guy's point of view in this movie. Was it believable? Not so much, but hey, it's something. it's something, okay? We actually get to see what the guy is going through as well as what the girl is going through, and that's very rare. It's very rare. Usually they don't do that. The only other one I can think of was He Shed, She Shed, and that came out in the early '90s, and that was with Elizabeth Peters and Kevin Bacon. Okay, that was another one where it showed the woman's point of view. Then it showed the first half was the woman's point of view or the guy's point of view. Then the second half was the woman's point of view of the same story. Okay, a parallax. Both characters going through the same thing, but from different points of view. This movie, not so much like that, but it does have a parallel of their life experiences, how they first meet, how they both know the same people, they just don't know each other. They're both involved in the same things, they just don't know each other. Okay, so I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was an original idea. It could have been a great movie. It was not. It failed, but I still love the movie, and therefore it is worthy of my review. All right, so let's get the basics out of the way. If you look up this movie, Till There Was You, like I said, it came out in 1997. If you look it up right now on Wikipedia, you're going to find out that it has a 5% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, that's pretty fucking bad. Okay, 5%, that's pretty fucking bad, all right? This movie did not age well at all, okay? Which sucks, because like I said, I liked the movie. I thought the movie was endearing, okay? But, you got to check your brain at the door. And I know you can say that about any movie, okay? But, I had to be a fucking lonely guy, okay? A lonely, fucking horny guy to really just fall in love with this movie, okay? I think that was working on me at the time, okay? Because the movie is not very good. All right. But I love it. Till There Was You, 1997. Now, this movie was directed by a guy named Scott Winant. Okay, this was he was a TV director. He directed a lot of TV shows. He's only directed 2 feature films. Okay, that means movies that went to the theater. He's only done it twice. This was his first one, and his second one hasn't come out yet. It's 2023. So let's say there's nobody. His phone's not ringing like crazy for anybody to give him a directing job that's going to go to the fucking big screen. Okay, it's not likely going to happen anytime soon. All right. I'm pretty sure this movie that he's waiting to get it distributed. I think he's been waiting for a while. Okay, if you look it up, it's to be determined when they're going to release his second feature film. Okay, only a good one. What is that? 25 years apart? 26 years apart? He makes feature films every 26 years. Yeah, good to go, motherfucker. All right. Yeah, that's kind of like Sylvester Stallone did that too. He did Rocky 4, and then he didn't direct again for a long time. All right, so moving right along, yes, Scott Winant directed this movie. He mostly directed TV shows, a lot of episodes of TV shows, shit that you never heard of probably. Some of the stuff that he did do that I have heard of, he did The Powers of Matthew Starr. Now, I don't remember, I have every episode right here, okay? I remember that show when I was a kid. I have every single episode right over there. So far, my son and I have only watched the pilot, which I remember. I remember it came on right before Automan. If any of you fucking remember that show with Desi Arnaz Jr., fucking post in the comments, all right? But anyway, yes, The Powers of Matthew Starr. I remember that fucking movie, that TV show. I watched a few episodes when I was a little kid. It's stupid, but hey, you know what else you got to watch when you're a fucking little kid and your mom's working on Friday night and she can't afford a fucking babysitter, so you and your fucking older brother just sitting there watching cable on a Friday night by yourself when you're in the fucking 2nd grade. Yeah, we watched The Powers of Matthew Starr. That's what we watched, all right? And like I said, I got every episode back there. Anyway, I think he created that show. Yeah, he started out as a producer of that show, and then he wrote some episodes as well. So that was his big break in Hollywood. He started off on The Powers of Matthew Starr. Yeah. Louis Gossett Jr. was on that show. Yeah, he played like the human guy that was raising the alien boy. I guess he was like the heir to the fucking king of some fucking planet, and then some of these alien invaders. So it's a bullshit show. Look it up if you want to know what it's about, all right? But yes, of course, it's a classic. Like I said, I got every episode back there. Okay, I'm probably going to watch an episode after I'm done with this. Anyway, hey, moving right along. So that's going on. He started off as a producer of that. He also directed a lot of episodes of 30-something. Now, for those of you that are my age, that was a show from the 80s. Okay, just to give you a little context, in the 80s, everything was retro, just like it is today. Okay, so in the 80s, everybody that was making TV shows and movies was remembering their childhood in the 60s. So everything from the 60s came back in the 80s. That's why I grew up in the 80s, and I got flooded with fucking shit about the fucking Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Batman, James Bond, Vietnam, fucking, I mean, all that shit, I was just getting hit with that over and over and over again as a little fucking kid in the 80s. Okay, that's what 30-something was. It was for all the fucking yuppies out there. These people that were kids in the 60s, and now they're at 30-something in the 80s. And what they're going through. Now that they fucking actually went to college now, they had to quit fucking smoking weed. Well, most of them did. They had to get a real fucking job, you know? Yeah, that kind of shit. So he was there. But yeah, I was too young to really appreciate that show. And what else did he do? He also did, he did one episode of The West Wing. So kudos to him. You can tell how the trajectory of his career, okay? And The West Wing was well after this movie, okay? So his career did not improve with this movie, okay? He also did one episode of a TV show called Dead Like Me. Did you ever watch that shit? I sure as fuck didn't. I might have watched one episode. He also did Carnival. I did watch one season of that. That was on HBO. That was about this kid who fucking, in the 1930s during the Dust Bowl, he worked at a carnival. He had the power to heal people. And also had Clancy Brown as this reverend who had the power to kill people. And he was evil. And these two fucking have parallel. It's all fucked up. I just remember Adrienne Barbeau, who must have been in her 50s back then, was fucking the main character. And he was like in his 20s. All right. He also did one episode of The Shield with Michael Chiklis. He's that corrupt cop. Now, back when Sopranos was a big hit in the late 90s, early 2000s, everybody decided to ride that bandwagon. Let's make shows about anti-heroes. From now on, let's make a TV show where the main character is a bad guy. Okay, so that started the trend. Sopranos was the one that started the trend. So the next thing you do after Sopranos is you do The Shield. It's about a cop who's fucking evil. He's a corrupt cop. Okay, but it's all about his life, okay? In the first episode, he kills one of his own men in cold blood and frames another guy for it, you know? That's how corrupt, his whole unit is corrupt. It's basically Training Day, but the TV show with a bald-headed white guy in it. Michael Chiklis, the commish. Yeah, so he wrote one episode of that. And what else? And he also did 4 episodes of Californication, and that was with David Duchovny, okay? Now, there's going to be a lot of parallels here in this movie and Sex and the City, because obviously you remember David Duchovny was in Sex and the City. I reviewed every episode of Sex and the City. He played Carrie's old high school boyfriend, and they hook up again, but he's locked up in a mental asylum. Yeah, so that's why she can't really be with him, even though she fucks him anyway. Yeah, okay, with David Duchovny, there's going to be a lot of parallels with Sex and the City in this movie. This ain't the only fucking guy that she fucked, that Carrie Bradshaw fucked that's in this movie, and we will get to that. All right, so yeah, so he did Californication. I never watched that show. I think I watched one episode. I thought it was a bullshit show. I know a lot of women love that show. I think more women like that show than men. Okay, and that's because it's about this guy who's a writer. Holy shit, a guy in Hollywood who's a fucking writer. What an original idea in Hollywood for HBO, just to pitch to HBO. But he's there. He's got a nice house. He's got a swimming pool. He fucks a lot of hot girls. He doesn't have to do anything. He just walks in the room, and these hot girls, married women, young women, fucking old women, they all just want to fuck him. He doesn't really have to do anything, but yet he walks around complaining and pissed off and just fucking dismissive about everybody. He's like, fuck you, fuck the whole world. And then some hot girls goes like, oh God, I want to fuck you so bad. He's like, oh yeah, fine, come on. And then he fucks them. He's like, oh yeah, leave me alone now. You know, and he spends, basically that's what, 6 seasons of that. Okay, which I know it turns a lot of women on, but for a guy watching this shit, it's like, come on. You don't get to fuck every girl you're an asshole to. It just doesn't work that way in real life. He even fucked some of his daughter's friends, I think. I don't know. I don't watch the show. But anyway, yeah, he wrote that piece of shit. All right. So that's him. Okay, Scott Winans. Now, the only reason he fucking even works in Hollywood, okay, the only reason anyone even gave him a break in Hollywood is because his dad was an actor. Yes, his dad was fucking H.M. Wynant. That's not his real name. I think his real name was Claude Wynant. Anyway, but that's not a really good actor's name. Okay, and this guy was a big character actor from like the 1950s and 60s. Okay, he was one of those guys that just, if you watch like an old episode of The Fugitive or an old episode of fucking Death Valley Days or Have Gun Will Travel or fucking The Cisco Kid or fucking, you know, The Untouchables or Dragnet, he will show up in at least one episode playing some asshole. Okay, that's his dad, H.M. Wynant. Okay, and that's how his son got a job in Hollywood as a writer / director / producer. Okay, yes, nepotism all the fucking way. All right, so that's that guy. Yeah, and I'm not impressed with him. All right, even though I love this movie, it wasn't well directed. It could have been better. Okay, and this this movie that I love so much was written by a woman named Winnie Holzman. Another never was in Hollywood. She's still around. She's also an actress. She doesn't just write. But let's say for She has the looks of a writer. I'll just put you that, okay? Okay, and she wrote she created a TV show called My So-Called Life, and I guess because of the success of that show, which I never fucking watched, all I know is it was a chick show like fucking Gilmore Sluts, Ever Woody and One Prick Hill. It was like one of those shows. Okay, My So-Called Life. I never watched. I know Claire Danes is in it, but who gives a fuck? All right, all I know about her is that she fucking slept with a married Billy Cudrup, and he fucking left his pregnant fiance to be with her. But anyway, yeah, My So-Called Life. She created that show. I think she did. She wrote it. Yeah, she wrote it. She created that show. She also wrote for 30 something, that TV show, which is probably why the director and her hooked up together to come up with this fucking movie, all right? It's because she wrote for the same show that he wrote for, okay? And also, she created the Broadway show Wicked. She was the co-creator. Yeah, Wicked. Yeah, I've seen that show. Okay? And Wicked, of course, most of you know, it's been playing forever. It's about the Wicked Witch of the West, about Elphaba. Yes, I read the fucking book too. Okay, Gregory Maguire. I didn't read the sequels, but I did read the book, Wicked. Okay, all about Elphaba. Get it? Elphaba, L. Frank Baum. Get it? Okay, anyway, it's the story about the Wicked Witch of the West. She was actually a good person. She just got misunderstood. Okay, and she wasn't really evil. She was just trying to survive. And fucking Glinda, the good witch, was her fucking college roommate. And blah blah blah. And her sister, the Wicked Witch of the East, actually had no arms, and she was a good person. All this kind of bullshit. Yeah, whatever. Yes, I read it. Okay. I used to draw comic books, and I would sit in front of my easel and draw all fucking day, 8 hours, 10 hours a fucking day. Well, you gotta listen to something while you're doing that. And I would listen to audiobooks, all right? So yes, I listened to Wicked, all right? And I saw the show as well. I went to the Broadway show in Chicago, all right? So she created that, okay? And yeah, it would, like I said, Gregory Maguire. So that's where the writer came from. Now, this movie stars a woman named Jean Triplehorn, okay? Now, Jean Triplehorn started off, she actually went to Juilliard. She went to Juilliard, the prestigious acting school there, and she also did some modeling, of course, because she's beautiful. And she's not really a great actress at all, but luckily for her, she did end up fucking Ben Stiller. Yes, you remember Ben Stiller? Of course, the son of George Stiller and Mira. Stiller and Mira. You remember that from HBO? In the early 80s on HBO, they had a show called Stiller and Mira. I watched that when I was a little kid. Late 70s, early 80s, I actually had HBO back then. All right, there was HBO and on TV. Okay, Stiller and Mira. Okay, Mira, of course, was in Sex and the City. Yeah, another reference to Sex and the City. She played Steve's mom on Sex and the City. She's dead now, of course. So is George Stiller. But they had a son, Ben Stiller, who, of course, is famous. Zoolander, fucking Night at the Museum. You all know Ben Stiller. Anyway, Ben Stiller started off, when he started off in his father's and mother's footsteps, he actually started off on a TV show called The Ben Stiller Show on MTV. And that was like in 1989. I watched that show. I thought it was fucking hilarious. So you can imagine my surprise in 1992 when I was watching Fox, which was still kind of brand new at that time. And all of a sudden they premiered the Ben Stiller Show, okay, on Sunday nights. Okay, which was kind of like a parody show. They would make fun of movies. They would make fun of TV shows that were popular at that time in 1992. The show starred Ben Stiller. Well, obviously, he was the star of it. I also had Janine Garofalo, another girl that he fucked. Okay, but she was not nearly as good looking as Jean Triplehorn. And also Andy Dick, who is canceled now because he's been he got Me Too'd, deservedly so. Andy Dick, and of course Bob Odenkirk. Yes. Better Call Saul himself was on that show as well. Those are the four main characters that were on that show. And just like on Saturday Night Live, they played everybody. They also had Brian, I think some other guy on there, I forgot, who played some old cop. Anyway, they had a lot of guest stars. Every episode, there would be a brand new guest star. Sarah Jessica Parker herself guest starred in an episode. She was the guest host of an episode. Okay, and Jean Triplehorn was also in a lot of episodes. She played like this hot girl that Ben Stiller would try to get with and stuff. Little did I know back then that was actually his girlfriend. She was with him at that time. Okay, so that's where I remember her from. If you watch the old, I got every episode right here. I got every episode. It only lasted one season. Then it got canceled. I got every episode right here. And then right after that was another show. I forgot the name of it, but Jennifer Aniston was in that one. But anyway, Before Friends. Yeah, Before Friends. Okay, so that's good. She's in this movie too. Yeah. So yeah, the Ben Stiller show. She was in a lot of episodes of that. They did a thing called the Grungies, which was a spoof, a parody of the Monkees, and she was like the hot girl that was in that. And so yeah, who I didn't know back then that he was fucking her. But anyway, yeah. So that's where she started off from. But her first like movie. Feature film role was in Basic Instinct. Yeah, the Michael Douglas movie where he's boning Sharon Stone and she's got the fucking ice pick. Yeah, she was in that movie. She played like the nice girl that was in love with Michael Douglas's character. I don't remember that movie. I haven't seen that movie in fucking 30 years. That was in love with Michael Douglas, but she was also fucking Sharon Stone. But she was ashamed of it. It was a college thing, whatever. So that was going on there. And then she gets killed in Basic Instinct. So she was in that. She's just another hot girl for Sharon Stone to have sex with and kill her. That kind of shit with the fucking ice pick. Yeah. We all know she spread her legs. Yeah. Okay, so that's Jeanne Tripplehorn, okay? She also did a lot of other stuff. She's not a great actress at all. She was in The Firm. You remember that movie with Tom Cruise? It was Michael Crichton, not Michael Crichton. Who the fuck is it? The fucking guy, the white trash lawyer. That's all he ever writes is the white trash lawyer. The Firm, The Client, all that kind of shit, So yeah, she was in that with she played Tom Cruise's wife in that one with Gene Hackman, and I think she has an affair with Gene Hackman in that movie. To get back at Tom Cruise because he cheated on her with some fucking hooker in Mexico or some shit. I don't fucking, or Jamaica. Who fucking knows? It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. Anyway, but the movie that did her in, actually, the movie that pretty much destroyed her career was this movie called Waterworld. I actually went to the theater to go see it. You gotta remember, in the 90s, Kevin Costner was a hot commodity in the 90s, okay? He got really famous from being like in Bull Durham, from being in Field of Dreams, The Untouchables, JFK, Robin Hood, not Men in Tights, the other one, Prince of Thieves. Okay, so he was really popular. Wyatt Earp, he was really, really popular in the 90s, okay? He was getting work like crazy. Yeah, Kevin Costner was. And then he got this big budget movie called Waterworld. I'm not going to get into it here, but needless to say, that movie was a huge, huge flop. A lot of people lost their careers because of this movie. Kevin Costner's career never really recovered. He did star in some other stuff after this, but actually, it wasn't until this TV show that he's on now called Yellowstone. I don't know. I don't fucking watch it. That's what really brought him back into the spotlight. Okay, he's been through like 3 marriages since then, but yeah, Waterworld pretty much was the nail in the coffin of his career for a long, long time. Okay, that was a piece of shit movie. Okay, and Jeanne Tripplehorn, of course, was the leading lady in that movie. So if the star of the movie's going down, she's going down too. So of course, and from what I've not seen that movie in at least 20 years, but from what I remember, it was not very good. It was a big budget. Dennis Hopper was in it, coked out of his fucking mind, and he acted that way too. He was the deacon, he overacting like he always does in every fucking movie. I'm gonna get you, Jack. Like he's on a cocaine high in every movie he's in. Apocalypse Now, Speed, and in this movie. Wasn't very good, but she was a love interest, and she was like not very good in it. There's a scene where she does this monologue. She's like, and they're gonna come for us. And she does it just like that, okay? And unfortunately, she also acts that way in this movie. So so that's the one that pretty much did her in. She did star, this was the movie she did after Waterworld. Okay, now Waterworld was in 1995, okay? This movie was in 1997, all right? So, this movie did not help her career at all either. I think she was trying a lot of things. She tried to do that sexual drama, like Basic Instinct. That didn't work out for her, She tried to do action adventure, Waterworld. That did not work out for her. So now she went into the rom-com business, okay? That's got to work, right? No, it did not. This was her rom-com thing. Now, this isn't the only rom-com she did. She did do another rom-com in 1999, which unfortunately I saw that too. That was Mickey Blue Eyes with James Caan and Hugh Grant. And she played the daughter of a mafia boss. And Hugh Grant is basically Hugh Grant, the beta male British guy that gets all the pussy. Yeah. The less said about that, the better. But she had a very small role in that. It was mostly about James Caan and Hugh Grant, but she was the love interest, technically. Okay, and that movie did her no favor. So her career was pretty much fucking in the shitter until Big Love, which was a TV show on HBO about Bill Paxton plays a guy who's married to like 3 different women, and none of them know about each other. She was one of the wives on that show. It was her, Chloe Sevigny, and some other fucking girl. I don't fucking know. I didn't ever watch that fucking show. Okay, but I do know what it's about. So there's that. Now, Jean Tripplehorn was very, very hot when she was young on the Ben Stiller Show in 1992. In 1997, in this movie, she's more plain. Hey, straight man's point of view. I'm gonna tell you how I'm gonna call it like I see it. She's very plain looking. All right. Okay. Right now, she is, like I said, she dated Ben Stiller. Right now, she's married to this actor named Leland Kasser. Yeah, Leland Kasser. He's a famous character actor. And if you want to know who he is, you remember that movie Pearl Harbor? Remember Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck? Okay. Yeah, that one. And Kate Beckinsale. Okay, well, you remember when they got bombed, Pearl Harbor got bombed by the Japanese. There was that army officer that almost died, but Kate Beckinsale had to keep her finger on his throat to prevent him from dying. Okay, well, that's him. Okay, that actor. That's Jean Tripplehorn's husband, and they've been married for a long time. All right, so yeah, that's the guy. All right. The other star of this movie is Dylan McDermott. Now, I already talked about Dylan McDermott when I was reviewing Pretty Woman. He dated a lot of women in Hollywood. He dated what's her name? Fucking Julia Roberts back when she was filming Pretty Woman. In fact, he actually went to the set of Pretty Woman because he had a rumor that she was actually fucking Richard Gere on the set. Was she? I don't know. But Julia Roberts is not known for being faithful to her boyfriends, okay? I mean, she left Kiefer Sutherland at the altar to go fuck his best friend, Jason Patrick. I mean, she fucked over Lyle Lovett too, okay? So, yeah, there's a long list of guys that Julia Roberts fucked over. And Dylan McDermott was another one of those, all right? He plays a character here named Nick Dawkin, okay? Now, Dylan McDermott, he was in Steel Magnolias. That's a movie I've never fucking seen, but I'm probably going to have to review it. I already mentioned I saw him in Hardware in 1990. That was one of the worst fucking Terminator ripoff movies I've ever seen. But it was directed by a guy named Richard Stanley, okay, who later on was hired to direct The Island of Dr. Moreau. Yeah, the one with Marlon Brando, okay, and Val Kilmer. Yeah, that one. And he got fired while he was filming that movie. So instead of fucking, the movie studio sent him a plane to get back to fucking America. Instead, he never got on the plane. He actually hid in the woods, and he disguised himself as one of the extras and put on the fucking animal makeup, and actually was an extra in the fucking movie after he got fired from directing. I'm not making that up. All right. Yeah, so that's where he's from. He was also in The Line of Fire in 1993 with Clint Eastwood and John Malkovich. He was the love interest in Miracle on 34th Street, the remake. From the 90s. That's the one where they couldn't use Macy's, so they came up with some fucking fake department store name in that movie because they couldn't use the rights to Macy's. The remake of Miracle on 34th Street, 1994. He was in another rom-com I saw called Three to Tango, which I'm not going to talk about. It was with Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry and the bitch from fucking Scream. I forgot her name right now. He was in that. He played the asshole lawyer guy who hired somebody. Anyway. He was also in Wonderland. That's another movie with Val Kilmer, where Val Kilmer played John Holmes with his big dick. And it was about the Wonderland murders, all the drug dealers that got murdered in Wonderland, and John Holmes was involved. He was one of the drug dealers, all right, in that movie. Okay, he was in Olympus Has Fallen. That was in 2013. He was a Secret Service guy that was actually working with the terrorists. And so fucking Gerard Butler had to fucking kick his ass because that used to be his friend and beat the shit out of him and kill him and get the information before he killed him. Yeah, he was in that one too. Most of you know him from The Practice. He was like the main lawyer on that show called The Practice, which is about fucking lawyers. From 1997 to 2004. He was also in pretty much every season of American Horror Story. Yeah, I remember him in the first season of that. Okay. He was on a TV show called Stalker for a couple of years. In real life, he was boning his co-star, Maggie Q. They were actually engaged. Then they split up, and we don't know why. Okay, and like I said, he dated Maggie Q, dated Julia Roberts and shit. He was actually with a woman named, I forgot her name, but they have a kid together, so whatever. And she fucking divorce raped him. So yeah, so he's kind of got to work right now to pay the fucking alimony and the child support that he owes. All right. And of course, the other main character in here is Sarah Jessica Parker, who we all know and love from Sex and the City. Yes, this is before Sex and the City. This was 97. The first episode of Sex and the City did not come out until 1998. So this is the gig that she did right before she became Carrie Bradshaw on Sex and the City. She plays a woman named Francisca Landfield, who is basically, in this movie, she's basically Jan Brady. Okay, she's basically Eve Plum from the Brady Bunch. Okay, it's a fake family called One Happy Family or some shit. Yeah, and Yeah, and of course, the main character, Nick, Dylan McDermott's character, falls in love with her when he's a kid. He watches her show with his parents. Yeah, and he falls in love with Jan Brady. I can relate to that. I think that's another reason I love this movie is because in real life, I was in love with Eve Plum as a little boy when I was watching the fucking reruns of the Brady Bunch. Yes, I was more attracted to Jan than I was to Marcia. I was definitely a Jan girl, Jan guy. Okay, I like Jan. I did not like Marcia because let's face it, not only was Jan prettier, she had bigger tits. All right. So there's that. Sarah Jessica Parker's in there, and then we also got Craig Bierko, who is not that well known. You probably remember him from Cinderella Man. He played Max Baer, the real life professional boxer who killed a man in the ring. That's the guy that Russell Crowe has to fight in that movie. What's the name? Jim Braddock. Russell Crowe's character has to fight him for the heavyweight championship in that movie. He's also in The Long Kiss Goodnight. He played the asshole. That was the father. That was the biological father of what's her name? What is Gina Davis's character's daughter in that movie? He's the bad guy, and of course, like I said, Cinderella Man. He played Max Baer. In real life, Max Baer's son, Max Baer Jr., was Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies. Just in case you didn't know that, okay? And in real life, he was not an asshole like he was portrayed in that movie, okay? But most of you probably know him. He played Ray King. Remember him? He was the guy with attention deficit disorder. The guy, the jazz musician that owned a jazz bar. I remember when Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City she went on a platonic date with Big, and then she hooked up with Ray King. Remember that? Remember, and Big shared the taxi ride with him when they dropped her off. And she ended up fucking him. Remember, she said that was the best sex she ever had. But he's scatterbrained and he's got attention deficit disorder. Because of that, she decided not to stay with him full time. Remember that? Ray King, he always had that fucking derby on, all the time, and the fucking in the leather jacket, everywhere he went. Yeah, that's Ray King. That's him. That's Greg Bierko. Okay, he's in this movie. He plays a guy named John Haas, another love interest. And then he was actually the first choice to play Chandler Bing on Friends, in case you didn't know. But that role, he turned it down, and the role went to Matthew Perry. And then, of course, Jennifer Aniston's in this movie. She has a very small role. She plays a woman named Debbie, who is Gwen Moss. That's Jean Trumplehorn's best friend in this movie. She plays this doctor who's married to some fucking nerdy guy who likes to hang out in the car and listen to heavy metal. Boom. All right. So that is the background for this movie. Till There Was You. I thank you very much for watching this long, and I will start the review in the next video. Thank you very much, and I will see you soon. Bye.